Yes guys, what is up? Welcome back to a brand new video here today and some more F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Today we are here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the penultimate round of Season 1, round number 21 out of 22. It's such a long season, I can't believe I'm saying that. But one race remains guys after this, of course Abu Dhabi, that will be tomorrow's episode. But today we are here at Brazil. If you guys missed the last one, check it out guys, at Mexico. It will be linked up in the top right hand corner of your screen. One of my best races of the season so far, so go check it out guys. A really good performance. But yeah, we are here guys for some more content, and it's going to be interesting because this one is going to be it's one of my favorite tracks. I love Brazil, but I've got to be realistic, the car is still not there. Like, we are still second from bottom, so it's going to be a bit tricky. But let's jump to the laptop and let's see what we have in store for today's episode. So here we are then, getting ready for the race weekend, and first and foremost let's look at the weather forecast. And this weekend we have pretty much dry conditions all the way through. There's a slight chance of rain in qualifying. Besides that, dry conditions. And also worth noting, in terms of R&D, we have closed the gap to Haas, because this weekend we have brought a major aerodynamic upgrade. But look at this. Racing Point, Renault, McLaren, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo are literally so damn close, it's unbelievable. But in terms of future upgrades, we have two more major upgrades arriving on the 16th of November, which is just before the final race. So we've got one for the chassis and one for the aerodynamics on the car on the same day before the final race. Hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, nothing goes wrong and they both arrive, because if they do, we should leapfrog Haas and be quite close to the cars ahead of us heading into the final race at Abu Dhabi. So here we are then, jumping into practice, and again, as always, we try to do our regular programs, including of course trying to go fastest in FP1, because it gives us a bonus for one of our sponsors. Unfortunately, we tried it, we didn't quite achieve it, we went P5, 2/10 off the pace. But we're now going to move into an interview, because it was an interesting one after practice to see what the interviewer had to say.
Things are really heating up between you and your rival, aren't they?
Well, you could say that, but I mean, we did end the rivalry last race, so I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Let's talk about another team. How do you feel they did today?
I mean, I'm really not concerned about what Haas do, to be honest with you.
Sounds like there's some work to do back at the factory.
That was a bit of a dodgy interview. Like, I'm not feeling that. I don't know what the interviewer was doing, but there was some weird questions. Either way, after practice, we do see an improvement to the team acclaim on both drivers and also the combined total. But with that, we now move into qualifying, and this is going to be interesting because I feel like we do have good pace around here, but the AI also pretty strong, so it's a bit of both. I feel like I've got a good chance myself, but it's not going to be easy, so we're going to have to really work for it and try our best. I do have a brand new sponsor in the team now, called Atlantic, of course, which we brought back to the team. But unfortunately, I forgot to put it on the car, so there's nothing on the halo for this episode, so I do apologise for that one in advance. But here we go then, moving into Q1, and this was my first run in the session. We went for 2 runs only in this qualifying session. It was meant to be 3, but I got it a little bit wrong. My first one, though, was a pretty good lap, actually. I was quite happy with it. Really strong banker lap. We go about 4/10 off Pierre Gasly's time in P7, so it's not too bad, but this was my best lap. Unfortunately, I underfueled and I didn't put enough fuel in for another run, which was a shame because I thought I'd have enough fuel for 2 laps, but I didn't. So this ended up being my best lap in the qualifying session.
To go.
Here we go, DRS open as we now run up to the line, keeping the car to the left-hand side for the shortest run, and we do improve by pretty much 1/10 of a second, but it's not as much as I'd hoped for. You know, there were moments during that lap where we gained a lot more time and I wasn't able to really put it together completely. And unfortunately I didn't have enough fuel in the car for another lap. I really thought I had enough, but I miscalculated it. And unfortunately both of the Haas cars and Mick Schumacher both improved. And we get pushed down to P20. So overall, it's disappointing. I think if I'd got a perfect lap, the best we could have got would have been P18. So yeah, overall, it's not ideal, but qualifying is done and dusted.
Why do you think you weren't as quick as your teammate today?
Damn, another one of these questions? Okay. Well, he was better than me today. You know, he was more consistent. I made too many mistakes. Simple as that.
How will not making Q3 affect your strategy tomorrow?
Not much. We haven't had Q3 that often this season, so it's not really something we factored into our strategy to start with anyway.
Appreciate your time.
And there we go then, after some, again, pretty interesting questions from the interviewer this weekend. She seems to be targeting us this weekend with some weird questions. We get qualifying done and dusted, and there we go, the acclaim. As you can see on screen, we are now going to get ready for the race, guys. The Brazilian Grand Prix, one of our favourite tracks in the calendar. I think we've got a good pace, and I think we've got a chance. So let's jump into it, and let's see how it goes.
Welcome along then to the place where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the final corner. And it's the place, a year later, that Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's Interlagos, and it's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. Two very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junção into one of the two DRS zones will be the key to any overtaking prospects today. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Mick Schumacher. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, and Albon, Sainz, Ocon, Perez, and Lando Norris, Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Charles Leclerc, and Raikkonen, Grosjean, Magnussen, Martinez, and Lance Stroll. Gasly, Russell. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Latifi and Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Here we go then, guys. It's time for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Starting from P17 on the grid, we're going to be starting on the medium compound tyres. I feel like this is going to be the really strong strategy of this race. And then move on to the softs. I'm not sure if the AI have been fixed around here, because if they haven't been, we've got a really strong chance they're scoring points. Because last year on F1 2019, they were quite conservative on their tyre choices and would often go for 2 stops around here. If that's the case, we're going to be scoring big points today. I think it could be possible. If they've been fixed and they go for the 1 stop, it's a different story. But for now, we're going to start in the mediums and then try and go into the softs. And fingers crossed, that strategy will be really, really strong for us. Fuel-wise, 1.2 laps extra. You guys know the drill by now. Let's get the race underway. And let's see if we can try and score some more points. Right, here we go. Let's see what kind of start we get as we get the revs around the 11,500 range. Lights out and away we go. One of the Haas cars, no, both of them actually, on the hard tyres, also the Alphas as well. We're going to try and go to the outside of turn 1. Lots of cars on the hard compound tyres here. So maybe the AI going very conservative on strategy once again this year. We move all the way up to P13, so we benefit from them, of course, using the hard compound tyres. And we are up into the top 13. Really good start so far. Kvyat ahead of us, also on the hard compound tyres. So I fancy my chances in terms of getting past the AlphaTauri driver. We are ahead of Pierre Gasly, of course, our former rival. I'm not sure if he still is, to be fair, but either way, we're ahead of him anyway, just in case. So it's a good start from us, getting ourselves in a good position early on. Oh my goodness me. Woohoo! Had to completely avoid that, take evasive action there. Luckily we avoided the lockup, so no overheating on the tyres, but that was a bit too close for comfort. Let's see if we can get a move on Kvyat here out of this corner. I fancy my chances, I really do. Those hard tyres are hard to get up to temperature, you know, I know from experience. This season I've done that strategy a few times, you know, and it's hard to get into a rhythm on the hard compound tyres. So let's see if we can try and get past Kvyat here. We're using overtake and rich mix up the hill. We'll pull to the inside. We'll now turn off the overtake mode. We don't need it anymore as we are alongside the Russian. Leclerc in front as we go down towards turn 1. Going to be cautious on the brakes, but still keep it kind of late because obviously we want to get the move done, but I don't want to run into the cars ahead. But we are through and up into P12.
Showing small signs of wear. Power output will be down.
Yep, the engine is starting to wear out, but I'll tell you something. We've done, I believe, the entire second half of the season on this engine. Obviously, I've been using power units 1 and 2 for practice, but for qualifying the race, I've been using power unit number 3. And since then, we've actually done a great job. I can't remember what race it was we put the engine in, but I believe it was like round 9 or 10. So we've done at least 11 races with this engine now, and I think we should be okay to stick with this one for the final race. So, yeah, I think we're going to be okay, to be honest. I really do. At the moment, we're kind of in limbo. We're not really going anywhere. We're pulling away from Kvyat, not by much, but enough to the point where we're out of the RS range. But we're not closing in on the cars ahead, of course. They're seemingly running the soft tyres ahead of us. So, yeah, this is kind of where we're at the minute. I'm the only car in medium, so I'm kind of out of place in terms of strategy if we're comparing to the AI. So I'm curious to see how this is all going to shake out later on in the race.
Some information on Leclerc. They seem to have an issue.
That's good news. He's directly in front of us, so that will be giving us a P11, which is great news. At the moment, pace is okay. Kvyat is hanging in there. We're not really shaking him off anymore. We're just about keeping him out of the RS range, but I don't have a huge pace advantage over him. He's pretty good on those hard tyres, pretty handy, it seems like. There is a gap forming behind, though, which is good. Let's see if we can close in on Mr. Charlie Leclerc now in the Ferrari. I'm struggling to close in on Charles Leclerc here. They've definitely changed it this year in terms of how it works when it comes to the AI having car issues. They're not as slow as last year, where they'll drop through the field down to last place. It's definitely seemingly a bit more manageable for the AI this year. We're slowly chipping away, but I don't think we're going to catch him, to be honest, at this rate. I think his car might get fixed before we even get there. You can feel it when you get to about a second. The dirty air starts to kick in. I could really feel it through 5 and 6, the double right-hander. And I'm feeling it now through the second sector, just as I get within range of Charles Leclerc. I've suddenly lost a lot of front-end grip and performance, and I can feel it's catching me up as a result of that as well. I think Leclerc's got going again. Just as I got close, he's now starting to pull away. Gap up to almost 2 seconds, so there goes our chance of getting P11. I had a feeling that would happen, but that's fine. We weren't really racing Leclerc anyway to begin with, so let's just focus on our own race. The good news is now we're out of the RS range, and we won't be getting that dirty air from him, so we can start to push again. Okay, Sainz in the pit lane. I don't think there's anybody else in just yet. Just the McLaren for now. Maybe more cars might follow this lap, who knows. Pace is still good, but Kvyat is still hanging in on those hard tyres. I think he's got those in the zone now. He's got DRS on me on this straight, so he's going to start closing in a little bit. I'm trying to manage my fuel in ERS, just like Mexico, the last race. Fuel consumption in ERS is very high around here. Like, I can tell it's a thirsty one. The car is chugging away big time. Personal best, not bad. That's a better lap from us. Just using the pace, and the fuel slowly burning off, so it's giving us more rhythm around here. Ultimately, like I said before, the tyre wear is pretty low around here, so you can get away with the medium soft tyre. So you will survive.
Condition is still looking good.
There you go, personal best first sector, tyres look good. This is fine so far, P11, you know, we're on the cusp, that's okay. Okay, Perez in the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton as well, quite a few more cars this time. Looks like everyone's boxing for the hard compound tyre. Interesting, of course that's the benefit we're going to have later on, will be on the softs. The question is, can we hold pace on these used mediums? We've got Verstappen leaving the pit lane behind us. I believe he may have been the net race leader. He's going to rejoin just behind Kvyat, but they're going to battle, so that's going to cost them both time, so we'll have a chance to pull away there a little bit. But we're now up to P6. I'm expecting more cars in this lap. Okay, more cars in the pit lane. Kvyat, for the first time in a while, has DRS on this main straight for a change. We're going to move up to the race lead momentarily here. Looks like Bottas is leaving the pit exit at the same time. So he's looking pretty good actually, Bottas, for the championship, looking pretty handy. Ahead of Hamilton, of course, who needs to outscore his teammate here today. Well, we're now holding up a train of cars.
Mick Mick is in the pits. Mick in the pits.
Difference is we're holding them up whilst leading the race, which is pretty interesting. That's our first this season. Kvyat has picked up his pace. He's getting on with it now on those hard tyres. He's definitely quicker than me, but we're keeping him at bay, so that's fine. I'm looking forward to those softs later on. I'm really hoping they do well. Unfortunately, we don't have that many two-stoppers, so on paper, I'm not expecting to score points today because no one in the top 10 is two-stopping. Everyone's gone for the hard tyres. So unless we have just incredible pace on those every single lap, I can't see us getting to the top 10. But you never know, there could be some retirements. For now, though, we're focusing on this. It's actually quite nice having Kvyat behind me because it means the faster cars can't come through because they're struggling to make a dent on the straights because I'm dragging Kvyat along. So Kvyat's getting a very good straight line speed as a consequence of that. Only thing is my ERS is getting a bit low, so I've got to be careful and try and manage that. Stroll pits in the racing point. Oh, Latifi out the session for Williams. Will there be a safety car or something? Looks like there won't be. That would have been triggered by now, but that would have been interesting. I may have just gone for the softs and gambled, to be fair, if that had been the case.
Yellow flag.
This is good. Approaching yellow flag zone, which means we can't get overtaken on the straight, which is absolutely ideal. I'll use a bit of overtake just to
Okay, the incident has been cleared. Let's get back up to racing speed.
get a slight gap. Kvyat is winding it up here. He's definitely catching. I'm going to have to use some overtake.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the softs.
Here goes Kvyat down the inside. A bit surprised he went for that, but here we are. Battling away we go. Gonna have to hold on again here. I've got no DRS on this straight, which is far from ideal, and I'm about to run out of DRS in fairness. This is going to get pretty sticky now because it's so hard to recharge the DRS, and here comes Kvyat again. He's going to try it around the outside into the fast double rights. Slight contact, the hand goes up in anger, but we are going to squeeze the throttle on and hang on. But now Verstappen's got through. This is the risk of the race now. Kvyat battling me is not a good thing, but either way, here we are. Right, I'm going to take a tactical decision here to not deploy any ERS and let Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel get on with it. We did our bit. We tried to hang on to the pace, but we've run out of juice now. Let's see if we can stay ahead of Sebastian to turn 1. Yes, we can. That means we can now drag this on down towards turn 4, hopefully, with DRS off of Max. Let's see if that's enough. Or will Seb go for it? Oh no, here he comes. Yeah, he's quick. We'll let the Ferrari get on with it. He's a bit wide through there, to be fair. Not the cleanest move, but it's done. Here comes Bottas, having a little look, but we're going to manage to hold on. I managed to hold on to Sebastian Vettel's DRS through there, but here comes Valtteri Bottas, of course, probably champion-elect. If the race finishes like this, he will win the championship. Hamilton's behind Kvyat currently, so let's see if we can try and stick with Bottas. We're meant to pit this lap, so I'm probably going to box just to cover off Kvyat in case he goes for an undercut on us. Right then, here we go. Box, 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 box. We're going to pit for the soft tyres. Let's see if Kvyat follows me in. I'm expecting him to. And he does, I believe. No, he stays out, actually, surprisingly. Well, that's going to cover off a Kvyat undercut, which is good. Right, we're going to pit for the soft tyres. Hopefully we get to the end on these and there's no issues. We've lost a lot of time, though. We're down to P15 now, which is far from ideal. Make that P16.
Release, release.
1.9 stop. That's what you want to see from the mechanics.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Stroll in front of us on mediums, seemingly going for what seems to be the one stop, maybe soft medium, possibly from him. There's obviously cars on the hard tyres yet to pit, so we'll bear that in mind as well. We get a little bonus there of DRS on the pit exit. Alright, let's push, big outlap pit. Looks like we have K-Mag in the pit lane. There he is, just peeling off, getting ready for his stop, so we're now up to P17. Just him in the pits this lap. I'm expecting Grosjean in now, this lap at least, so that'll be another position for us. This time we have Kimi Räikkönen in the pit lane. Turns out Grosjean already pit. Signs as well, because I've got quite a few cars this lap. Personal best from me. Using, of course, the fresh soft tyres to get the job done. And we're now up to P14 in this race. The pace isn't great though, I can't lie. Like I mentioned in qualifying, I feel pretty good around here, but the AI also pretty good. You saw that with Kvyat on the hard tyres, you know, keeping up with me quite nicely. And now I'm not really making a dent into Stroll's gap. We're pretty much identical, if not equal pace on the different tyres, so that's where we are at the minute. Giovinazzi and Kvyat in the pits. They're going for the soft tyres, so they're going to have slightly fresher tyres than me. That might factor in later on, but we have pulled out a pretty good gap over Kvyat in the process over those laps, which is good to see. Now P12, I think everyone's pit now, I think, out of all the cars that went long on the hard tyres. So now it's all about if anyone in the top 10 retires, or someone like Stroll in front of us 2 stops maybe. But for now, I think that's it. I think P12 is the highest we're going to go in this race. I've had a very scruffy lap, way off the pace. Kvyat now 1.1 behind. He's going to catch us here. I think, to be fair, we're slowly closing in on Stroll, but not at the rate I need. Kvyat, new fastest lap, and Angelo Bonazzi takes it away, so it's all of the midfield cars setting the pace here. Kvyat's going to get a pass very soon. I don't really have to pace the challenge, really, unfortunately. I don't know whether to battle him or let him go, because ERS and fuel gets used so quickly around here. It's so hard to recover it and bring it back, so I'm not sure. Maybe Kvyat, we let him go, he battles with Stroll, and we can use that to close in and try and get past the racing point, maybe. Kvyat's got a lot more pace, he's all over my gearbox. I think this one is a battle that I can't particularly fight right now. I'd rather save what I have got left in the remains and see if I can follow Kvyat. Maybe that could be an option. Maybe I can follow him with DRS and he can drag me along. That could be an option. Oh, yellow flag behind us. Someone's had an issue. Carlos Sainz, I believe, in the McLaren. I think that's who it is. He's dropped out from being the next car behind us. We'll get confirmation soon, but it's more important now than ever, actually, to stick with Kvyat and use him to drag me along, because Gasly's the next car behind us, and we don't want that. That is bad news. There's no retirement. I wonder if Sainz made a mistake or spun the car. If I remember, I'll try and record a replay after the race. No, he's out of the race. There you go.
Full course caution. The safety car is out. Keep an eye on the delta. We need to keep it positive to avoid a penalty. Slow down. Maintain positive delta. Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta is negative, which means you are too fast. Reduce your pace.
I don't think we can pit. I think we're going to lose too many places. If I had a faster car, I would, but, you know, there's no point. We may as well stay out. To be fair, we might still have better pace on these tyres compared to some cars ahead of us. That could be an option. We'll see. Alright, let's see what the safety car does this time, whether it screws me over on the limiter or not on the last race. Looks like it's all good this time. The pull away is going to be key.
There's 5 laps of fuel remaining.
There we go. Pretty good timing on that, to be fair. Down the inside of Kvyat, we're going to retake that place. Feather the throttle a little bit, squirt it on slowly, and we're back up to P12. We retake Kvyat. Let's see if we can use these tyres now. We've still got a bit of life left in these to try and make a few places up. Only issue now is going to be engine overheating, as Gasly makes a move on his own teammate as well behind us. Engine is already yellow. This is not good. I'm trying hard, but we just don't have the pace at the moment. And whenever I get close, the engine starts to overheat. 2 to go. I could maybe get Stroll, but
Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online.
I think that's where it's going to end. I don't know if we'll get a point today. I don't think we've got enough pace. The engine is just overheating so easily. I've got way too much fuel. I saved too much in traffic, which isn't going to help. Here we go then, towards the end of the final lap then. We're not going to score points, but we did a good race. We managed to get Kvyat back, which is also quite fair in my opinion. Let's use up the rest of the ERS and the fuel. This isn't over yet. Kvyat might still get a run on us here. I'm out of ERS. This is going to go down to the line, this is. Come on, can we stay ahead? Yes, we can. There we go.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And so the celebrations begin, and well-earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion. Another superb Brazilian Grand Prix comes to an end, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
Yes, guys, it is done. Valtteri Bottas dethrones Lewis Hamilton from the top spot of Formula 1. He is the brand new Drivers' World Champion, and he picks up his very first championship. Verstappen wins the race here today. Vettel second place with the fastest lap, just missing out on the win by 0.6 of a second. Hamilton in the end P4, Ricciardo up in 5th, great drive from him ahead of Alex Albon, Esteban Ocon 7th, Charles Leclerc up to 8th in the end ahead of Perez and Norris, and Stroll misses out on the points along with us, Kvyat, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Magnussen, Schumacher, Russell, Sainz and Latifi out of the race. And overall, that was a race where we outperformed. You know, we didn't have the pace. I was holding Kvyat and Gasly behind, and we tried our best and we achieved it, but we didn't have that much pace today. I was surprised really. Normally our race pace is a bit stronger, but that wasn't the case here today. Standings wise though, let's confirm it. So Bottas 34 points clear ahead of Hamilton heading into the last race, which means Hamilton can no longer catch his teammate, so that is done. And also in our own little battle, you know, us versus Ricciardo, Perez, Norris and Stroll, it's looking pretty good. The gap to Norris is 13 points heading into the last race, so unless we have a stinker and Norris pulls off a P4, we should be good to finish in 9th place in the championship at least, at best. So I'll take that. Constructors wise, we are in P7 and I think we're pretty much secure now, and I don't think Alfa Tauri or Alfa Romeo are going to catch us. So great news all round. We've survived, we've done a good job, and you know, we've got our just reward. So it looks like we are going to be finishing the season in P7, which is really, really awesome. But guys, that is going to be it from me here at Brazil. We're now going to move into the laptop.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
We did, to be fair. I think the strategy was great. The car was working well. I was happy with it all weekend. You know, we just ultimately didn't have the pace compared to others, but the car was good. It was sticking to the track really, really nicely.
You're surpassing all expectations. Can anything or anyone stop you?
Not at the moment. I think we're doing a good job. Obviously, we can always do better. You know, the R&D graph reflects where we are, but we are doing well, and I think that deserves a lot of credit, and the whole team deserve a lot of that credit.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, so looking at Team Acclaim, we are going to gain quite a bit after that, to be fair, and it's going to help us out quite a lot, and there's going to be slow but definite progress. The bad news is, though, in terms of course, the goal bonuses, we didn't hit the Subaru sponsored goal, which was a shame because obviously we had to finish top in a practice session or any session for that matter, and we failed on that in FP1, sorry. But the good news is, of course, we have no damage deduction, so we do boost our overall cash flow to $7.34 million, which is pretty insane as we keep stacking up the money now, heading into the end of the season so we can make some big upgrades over the winter. Okay, here we are then, 10 days to go until the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. There is some big news, guys, and some really good news. The upgrades that we had scheduled have arrived and gone onto the car without failure. So we have this major one here for the weight redistribution on the car, and also, of course, the front aerodynamic one that failed originally. So with those upgrades in place, we've taken a massive leap forward. We're now going to protect a couple of upgrades for the engine, and this will mean now that we don't have to worry about this anymore moving forward, which is great news. So yeah, really, really awesome stuff. And we still have 747 points, so we could actually throw on some more, to be fair. Can we get a minor one on the car? Can we squeeze that on? Let's have a look. That's going to be 725 points, drag reduction. That's going to arrive after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, so you know what, we'll wait, we'll hold off, because I believe upgrades after the last race that are done during the winter don't fail, so that's a much safer bet. So we'll save up our R&D points and our cash. Let's look at the activities tab. So we have 10 days to turn over some activities, so let's do that, and let's have a look to see what we can do. So first and foremost, race simulations. We're going to focus on Mick. We're going to see if we can give him a good final race. I feel like see if we can try and squeeze something out of him in Abu Dhabi. So race simulations will go on for Mick. Weight training as well, that's going to help him out. And then besides that, power equipment upgrade, that's tempting. I do like the look of that, but it is 3 out of the 4 days. We do have a sponsor advertisement, and that would help us out a little bit in terms of cash and team acclaim. So I think I'm going to go for this one and help us out again, you know, looking at next season to try and push that team morale forward. So let's skip ahead and let's get to the last race in Abu Dhabi. Okay, good news. I believe we've received an upgrade from Mercedes-Benz for the engine. I believe it was called the air filter. Yeah, this one here. So it's a minor engine power upgrade. We are at the bottom of the engine charts now, to be fair. We've definitely been left behind. So that's going to be an area we really direct our focus next season. But over the winter, of course, we're going to work on the chassis and the aero. We're going to push that forward because if you've got a good car, essentially, you can then trim out some aero and you can make up for the loss of straight line speed. So we'll work on that next season, but it's good to see Mercedes have brought an upgrade. So heading into the last race, we have 3 upgrades on the car and 1 for pretty much each department, and that has meant that we've actually leapfrogged Haas in the R&D graph. It's not updated here, but you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see we are ahead of Haas quite comfortably, actually, and behind Alfa Romeo. So, yeah, guys, that is going to be it from me here today for this episode of the My Team Career Mode. The next one will be the finale at Abu Dhabi, guys, so stay tuned for that one. If you enjoyed this video, though, drop me a like and subscribe if you are new for more daily F1 2020 content, and also click the bell icon, guys, to be notified when new content does go live. But, yeah, guys, that's it from me here today in Interlagos, and I'll see you all next time for the finale of season number 1. But until then, guys, take care, and it's goodbye from me.